Hello people. So here I am entering the molecular biology lab. So in this lab I'll be showing you some instruments. So this is called as your PCR mission. This is just a normal PCR polymerase chain reaction that was discovered by Carey Mullis. So if you see, this is used for DNA amplification. So now because of this coronavirus you would have been heard a lot about RT-PCR technique. So it is the same principle over here, and this is normal PCR that is just even more advanced. So the small machine itself will cost you around some lakhs. So if you see what is the application of this, if you go for some crime suspect, crime scenes and all, you will be collecting some semen samples or some of the DNA samples from the rape suspects and all those things. So that samples will be very less for biotechnological work and for the microbial work, for DNA fingerprinting, for all those things. That DNA sample that you collect will be very less, so you cannot do anything about it. So you need to amplify the amount of DNA. If you're just getting one drop of DNA, you have to multiply the DNA and make it several thousand times. So this mission called as PCR, polymerase chain reaction thermocycler machine, that is the principle of this. So you will take that sample in an Eppendorf tube, very minute Eppendorf tubes, and you will keep that Eppendorf tube inside this. So you can see how small the Eppendorf tube is. I don't know whether you can see it. So I don't so this is how the small is Eppendorf tube, so very minute. You will add all the buffer solution and all the enzymes, DNA polymerase. One special type of enzyme is there called a stack polymerase. So all these enzymes will be added into that minute Eppendorf tube, along with all the adenine, guanine, cytosine, all the DNA phosphate bases, and some of the ions will be added. It will be mixed well, and then it will be, temperature will be set, and there are so many types of reactions over here. Denaturation, annealing, and all those things will be there. The strand elongation, so all those things will automatically, it is computed. So we have to just enter what time we want. So based on that, so the process will start, and it will take some 4 to 5 hours it will take, depending on the number of cycles that we require. So usually I keep it for 40 cycles. It is programmed for 40 cycles. So after 40 cycles it will take approximately 4 to 5 hours. If I come morning, if I keep it, but after my lunch it will be over. So if by chance, if I need for a longer time, then there's a option called as an hold at 4 degrees Celsius. So if I forget it also, there's no harm. DNA will not get denatured. It will automatically enter 4 degrees Celsius. And even if I come tomorrow morning also, the DNA will be safe. So that is about the PCR. So there are many reactions, many steps involved. Main principle is all that about. So now I'm going to show you the ELISA plate reader. When you're studying about your HIV, AIDS and all, then how is HIV detected? Then there are many methods to detect by Western blotting, ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbate assay. So here it is also called as microplate reader. So you will have a microplate that will be having 96 well. So you bring that microplate and you keep it inside this, and it is similar to that of your UV visible spectrophotometer. So you can, whichever wavelength you want, you will set that particular wavelength and you will take the absorbance. So what is the principle? How is ELISA run here? Because of the enzyme, what will happen? There will be change in the color, and based on that you can say whether the ELISA technique or your AIDS patient can be done. So it is a very detailed thing, so that cannot be explained over here. I'm just showing you the principle of this ELISA plate reader and showing the instruments over here. This is your ELISA plate reader or microplate reader. It has 96 well. So I'll show you that ELISA plate also. Using that you can find the absorbance of the solution, whatever you're keeping here at once. So if you're having UV visible spectrophotometer, every time in a cuvette you have to take the sample, you have to take the reading. So I have some 150 samples, 250 samples I have. So that will take almost 2 days, 3 days for me. So I can't keep taking UV reading. So then what I do is I take all the 150 samples or 100 samples in 96 well, and I keep it here, and the press of one button I will get a slip over here. That slip will give me all the values over here. So you can see, you will get a small slip like your bus ticket. So that will have the readings of all the 96 well. Within a blink of an eye, if you just close your eye and open your eye, within a blink you will get the reading of all the 96 sample. So it is definitely time consuming. It is time saving also. This is just a weighing balance where you can weigh up to 0.00001 grams you can weigh. So accurate it is. And this is a water bath. So for some experiments and all, we keep the test tubes in water bath, and we need temperature of 40 degrees, 60 degrees, 80 degrees, 100 degrees. So at that particular temperature, there's a place for here where you can set the temperature, you can set everything. So it will be shaking also. So you can set the speed also. So you can keep some around 200 to 300 test tubes you can keep in this. So water, we have to fill it with distilled water. We should use only distilled water. If you're using tap water, what will happen? The salt gets accumulated. Tap water will have certain salts and minerals. Because we're keeping it in very high temperature, the salt gets deposited over the side walls, and that will cause problem for the instrument. The instrument will be spoiled. So to avoid that, we use only distilled water. We pour distilled water, we set the temperature, we set the speed. If you don't want the test tubes to be shaking, then you don't have to set the rotation. So only temperature you can set. So that is about your water bath. This is called as water bath, shaking water bath. And one more thing that I want to show you is this is called as a gel rocker. So this small instrument here is called as gel rocker. So whenever we are doing Southern blotting or all those things, we want the gel. So it is usually used for Southern blotting and Western blotting and all. So when we take the DNA and we want the DNA to be shaking here, we leave it overnight. We leave it also sometimes. So with particular temperature, if you want, we will keep it in the shaking incubator. If you don't want particular temperature, you just want the gel to be shaking like this. So we keep the gel in the Petri plate or on a suitable apparatus, and we leave it over here, and this will be shaking like this. Hence it is called as gel rocker. So here I have set this for you. You can see this. It will be shaking. The speed control is there. Time control is also here. It is rocking motion like this. So hence it is called as gel rocker. I hope you can see this. You can see my hand motion moving. So based on the speed and time that I set here, it goes speeder also if you want. So that is about the gel rocker. So we keep the gel slab like this with surrounding media, hybridization buffer. So there are so many chemical components. So along that this gets, we leave it overnight, a particular time will be there for the particular experiment. So this is about gel rocker. This is called as a UV illuminator. So whenever we are running a gel, agarose gel electrophoresis, whenever we are doing, we will take the DNA sample, we will load the gel. So we have to see where the DNA bands are there. So we bring that band over here, we keep it the band over here, and we will switch on the UV light. Hence it is called as UV transilluminator. When you switch on, you get UV light. In the presence of UV light, you can find the DNA band. So what is the principle of this is, here we will add a dye called as ethidium bromide. Ethidium bromide is an intercalating agent. They will go and bind to the DNA bands, and when we observe them in the presence of UV light, you can find the you can find some glow over there. So here you switch on the UV light, normal light for other purposes. We switch on the UV light over here, and you can find the DNA bands. So whenever you're switching on UV light, we should take so much precaution that we are not supposed to expose our body parts, or we are not supposed to see the UV light, as it is highly mutagenic. UV light will cause mutation. The UV radiation, UV light is nothing but it is a source of UV rays. UV rays will come and that will cause mutation. And this is called as gel dock. It is more modified version of your UV transilluminator. Since it is more harmful, the UV light comes inside this. We keep the gel over here, we place the gel bar or gel slab over here, we push this inside, and we have a software that is linked to the computer desktop over here. Using that software, UV light will come inside and we will get the gel image on the screen. So all the bands and all those very beautiful image you can find on the screen. So this is about also we will be using in molecular labs. And one more very important thing is your deep freezer. So this is about your deep freezer. So what is the difference between normal freezer or normal refrigerator that you have in your house and this deep freezer? So normal temperature that is there in your house will be 4 degrees Celsius in the lower refrigerator, and top in the freezer will be 0 degree where you keep your ice and all. So this deep freezer is minus 21 degrees Celsius. It is also used for preservation. Your DNA and all cannot be kept in refrigerator. They will be denatured. Your enzymes, your all the very costly things, and your DNA, enzymes, all those things, some of the chemicals and all those things, we store some seed samples, some leaf samples, all those we will store in deep freezer, and it is minus 21 degrees Celsius. So at that minus 21 degree, there will be nothing will be damaged. So that is a type of preservation technique. There is one more preservation called as liquid nitrogen, where you get temperature up to minus 170, minus 190 degrees Celsius. You can get the temperature. That is the extreme type of preservation. So that is used for storing all your semen, sperm samples, your DNA samples, some of the viral samples. All those can be stored in your liquid nitrogen also. So that is about your deep freezer. Minus 21 degrees Celsius can be maintained. And one more thing that I wanted to show you is called as your cooling centrifuge. So what is the difference between normal centrifuge and cooling centrifuge? Normal centrifuge, what is a centrifuge? So we keep the test tube and it will rotate very high speed, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 60,000 RPM. It will rotate at that speed in centrifuge. So yeah, it is used to separate. It is a technique of separation where you separate your proteins, your carbohydrates, all those can be separated. For so many biochemical reactions, for cell separation techniques, we use a centrifuge. So that is a normal principle of centrifuge. So when the speed is going about 10,000, we leave it for 1 hour, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, excess of heat will be generated and that heat will denature the proteins. So when I'm doing some protein work, so when I'm doing some biological works, I cannot denature the protein. So what I do is I use this cooling centrifuge. Here I can reduce the temperature up to -4, -5 degrees Celsius, so that heat that is generated will be minimized. So here I will place, here it is called as rotors. So inside this you will be having rotors where I can keep my test tubes, I can keep, or I can keep the append of tubes, all those things. There are different sized rotors. So based on that, so if I just want to show you one rotor that is available here on the top itself, this is one type of rotor where you can keep append of tubes. So 25 append of tubes I can keep over here, 5 ml append of tubes I will keep inside that. So we can keep test tubes. There are test tubes, there are something called a centrifuge tubes. So all those things I can keep it over here and I can close it and I will operate over here. What temperature I need, what speed I need. So this is also another type of cooling centrifuge. All those things can be done and I can set this so that at a particular temperature, at a particular speed it will run. So usually we run at 10,000 or 20,000 RPM for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So temperature will be usually 4 degree or 5 degrees Celsius. So that will eliminate the heat production. So again here also in this molecular biology lab also we have shaking incubator for growth of microorganisms or for the gel to shake, for all those things we have. So this is all about your, I'll just show you some ELISA plate and I will show you the normal centrifuge. I'll show you. So people, this is your ELISA plate. I was saying it is also called as micro plate. There are so many U bottom, V bottom, flat bottom. This is, I bought a flat bottom ELISA plate for my work. You have U bottom also, so it will not be flat. There will be U shaped curve will be there in the bottom. That is the difference. So this is so small in this. So I will add all the solution over here and I will keep it in the ELISA plate reader that I showed you there. And it is also called as micro plate. So it has 96 well or 96 column. And this is your normal centrifuge where there is no temperature regulation. So inside that we can keep for all the work. So we can keep all whatever according to the rotors that we have. We can keep the test tubes or even conical flasks we can keep. So big you can keep your test tube. Inside this also you can keep test tubes. So this is one type of your bench top centrifuge we call it as. So this is about a normal centrifuge. So you have different types of centrifuge we have and different speeds. Based on the different speed also we have. So this is like ultra centrifuge where you can maintain speed up to 30,000, 40,000 you can maintain. There are normal centrifuge where up to 5,000 or 10,000 you can maintain speed. So that is about some of the microbiological, molecular biological instruments that we use. So I hope you like this video. Thank you very much for your patience watching. If you liked my video, please do like, subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. Thank you. Have a good day.